So 7.39E came a couple of weeks ago, so in this video we're going to talk about the best and the worst carries in this patch. Let's not waste any more time and go.
Up and down, side to side like a roller coaster.
So as usual, we're gonna have 6 categories, S, A, B, C, D, and of course the worst out of the worst heroes, right? And of course we're gonna start with the worst category, which is Phantom Assassin, Klings, and Lone Druid. Now, out of the 3 heroes, well, the only interesting one is PA, right? Why is PA so bad? Well, there are like 3 main reasons. One, she is really bad against all supports right now. Basically, she's a low health hero, and every single support right now gets to pretty much kill her solo. Heroes like Snapfire, Skyrath Mage, pretty much anything that deals more than 500 damage, you get to die. Second of all, she's really bad about most meta heroes right now, most meta carries right now. Some, spoilers alert, she's really bad against Marcy unless she's like 6 loaded. And the third one is that her laning stage is not that great. She's kind of forced to go jungle, and compared to other heroes like Gyrocopter, Luna, Sven, Medusa, she's just not farming that fast, right? So her laning state is meh, her strength, her stats are like not that great. She dies pretty much from anything, as a result she's bad. Now, Klings and Lone Druid, nothing to say here. There is some potential in Klings against Beastmaster, but you might as well just pick Gyrocopter. Now we're gonna go to the D tier, right? The D tier are like all these heroes, right? And I'm not really gonna go into that much, in depth, but the only thing that's interesting is Spec, where she can maybe work with some kind of Helm of Dominator and then into Radiance. The old, go into Orchid build is just fine, but the problem is, again, she doesn't come back, she gets level 6, and she's pretty bad against high tempo, and this is what Dota is all about right now. High tempo heroes that just mainly need a couple of items. Basically, if you can't be 6 slotted by 30 minutes in, or have like 2-3 slots and be able to fight by 15-20 minutes in, then the hero is just bad. Slark, basically just like PA, dies from anything. There are like too many Leshracs, too many packs, too many cops right now in the mid lane, and he just dies. His laning stage is meh, his comeback mechanism is meh. CK, no, even though we did see Ama in TI having some CK performance, it's a last pick. I don't really like it, even though Skitter gets to play it. Basically, these are heroes that you just get to blink stun, right? So Wraith King is no. Basically, he needs too much time to do nothing. Ricky. Luna might have some potential, but the way thing about Luna is play with Aghanims, right? This is what everybody's doing right now. You play with Aghs, and then you just use Eclipse, and even if you're 6 slotted, or if you just have Aghs, it just feels the same way. Queen of Pain, I have great success with Queen of Pain, but you don't really have Tower Siege, you don't really have Roshan potential, so it's like meh. Monkey King has a great laning stage, but that's pretty much it. He gets out carried pretty much by anything, right? He just loses every single matchup right now. And, when Dawnbreaker is meta right now, right? And you have a heavily commit hero like Monkey King with Wukong Command, then, Dawnbreaker just pretty much counters half heroes right now. But Monkey King, he gets to really hard counter, so definitely no. Kez, I don't know much about the hero, I still don't get it, but every time I see Kez position 1, he just loses a game, so, well. Shadowfiend, as we said in the support, there's a lot of Marcies and there's a lot of Spirit Breakers, and pretty much Shadowfiend hates to get jumped on early on, so that's why he's just bad. Alchemist, why would you ever pick Alchemist? There are just so much better Radiance heroes, right? Why would you just pick Alchemist? Razor, LOL. Sniper, LOL. Vayne and Zeus, I've seen some Zeus, but again, the same problem as Queen of Pain, the same thing as Necrophos, which I don't have in the list. In a sense that you don't have Roshan, you might win the lane, you might stomp the lane, but then what, right? But then you can't take Roshan, you can't end the game, you can't seal, you can't destroy the enemy throne because you don't have right click. Vayne, I think it's more of a position 3, maybe if you play versus some kind of early lineup and you just need 2 lives, it can just work out. Basically, it's just a Wraith King mentality. And we're gonna go to some C tier, and we're gonna have Doom, first of all, which I think it's pretty decent. Doom is pretty decent as a hero. He has some good matchup. Of course, the C category is heroes overall that you need to last pick, right? While we go into the B and the A and the S tier, you can just second phase pick, but for the C tier to have these heroes work, you need to be last pick, right? So Doom is just a fine hero. He has a Doom if you get to play versus for example, something like a Faceless Void or something like a Sven. It can work out, but basically you need a lot of farm and you need to win your laning stage. Faceless Void, I think the hero can be solid. You can either go for the Helm, which is still fine, right? If you want to stick to the lane, you should go Helm of Dominator, but going Mask of Madness Maelstrom is still fine. The reason what I don't like about Faceless Void is mainly he has one ultimate, and there's not really a way to not play around your ultimate. Sure, you can go for something like a shard and time dilation and just try to go back and forth, but basically in the end you're going to ulti, and if you kill somebody, you killed, and that's it pretty much, right? Muerta, I think Muerta is pretty fine. The problem is that there are a lot of heroes similar to Shadowfiend that you get jumped on, right? So don't pick Muerta unless you have a lot of control. For example, you have heroes like Centaur, right, that are going to protect you. Bloodseeker, I think it's pretty decent. He has some potential with a Mjolnir and Shard and Axe, and you can really do something. My only concern about Bloodseeker, that's why he's C tier, is that the moment his BKB ends, then the hero just dies. Surprisingly, this hero just needs refresher only to have double BKB. Like you can't play this hero without BKB, just impossible. And then we're gonna go to the Draw Ranger, which is a fine counter to Terrorblade, you know, who is meta right now. And pretty much that's it. She has many problems. Again, she's getting jumped on, and the problem with Draw is that she can't run and fight at the same time, right? She needs to have flawless positioning, and it's really hard to have flawless positioning. It doesn't matter if you're like 2k MMR. For example, in 2k MMR, a hero like Spec can work. A hero like Draw will never work in 2k MMR, even if it's free, because you need flawless position, even if it's a free draw game, right? And then we have like Dawnbreaker and Zombie, which I think is more of a like Jeff heroes, basically, and I have some success with them, especially with Dawnbreaker position 1, where I just go Axe into Radiance or vice versa, and I just get to punch enemies. And then DK, I think DK can be fine. You get the blink, you get damage, or you can go for the green facet, go Mjolnir, Dragonlance, and just go raw damage. I think it can be fine. I just don't really like it. Basically, all of these heroes don't really farm that great, and at the same time, their laning stage, with the exception of, you know, Dawnbreaker and Dying, is not great. And now we're gonna go to B tier, where we have Juggernaut. Now, Juggernaut, everyone is hyped. After TI, after Ame, after Satanic played it, and they got countered by the broken item, the hero gained a lot of popularity. In the beginning, I had him in D tier, then in C, then I placed him in B, but I don't really believe he's B. I think he's somewhere B and C. Mainly, my only problem is that every time I get to face a Juggernaut, I just press Lotus, and, well, the hero gets countered by so many items, right? So I feel like for Juggernaut to really pull it off, you need to have a last pick, you need to have a good team, you need to have control, and it feels like this hero, you need to have 8 slots basically to solo win this game, where there are just better solutions. I can still find Juggernaut to be great against very high magical lineups, right? Because you have Spin, you buy Manta style, but I don't think Juggernaut is a good hero right now. Then we have PL. I think PL is fine. He has some good potential with his new Spirit Lance facet. He can come back, actually. You get to farm fairly fast, and you know, basically all illusion heroes, they have the same mentality. You buy 3 items. In this situation, you have Manta, Diffusal, and Aghanims. The order doesn't really matter, but once you have all these 3 items, then you're just good to go and you can fight. His laning stage is not that bad. It's not like the old PL, because the Spirit Lance just deals more damage depending on the illusions. So it has some potential. Overall, I like PL, but again, it has to be a last pick. Gyrocopter, I actually love this hero. I'm just winning with this hero. I just played post 1 lately, and I've been winning a lot with this hero, even if I get to pick it in unfavorable matchups, right? For example, versus Terrorblade or something, which is one of the worst matchups in my opinion, right? But the hero basically just wins every lane. You get to stomp every lane, you get to flash farm, right? Of course, you're gonna buy Quelling Blade and just try to cut trees, so you're gonna farm all camps, and then just because you get to snowball from the laning stage, maybe you can get the enemy wisdom, right? And then enemies are playing from behind. So I think Gyrocopter is in a good spot right now. Medusa, I think it's great if you're playing against magical damage, similar to what we said to Juggernaut before. Why? Well, even if the mana cell got nerfed, she's really great hero against burst heroes. So, there are a lot of snapfires right now. There are a lot of Scarlet mages. So you can pull something like versus hero, something like the Ame build, where you just go Manta into a Mjolnir into Ags. Basically, you don't really always want to pick Medusa into this Manta, Butterfly, Daedalus, or Skadi type of build, but personally I pick Medusa, where enemies have a lot of burst, especially from supports, and just pick Medusa, right? Make sure that before you do that, anti-mage is banned. And we're going to anti-mage. You can either go for the Helm of Dominator, or you can just go for the Battle Fury. I think if you have a rough lane and you go for the Helm, it's fine, right? You can still go for the Helm of Dominator. But again, it's a last pick. You really want to pick anti-mage against heroes that can't really get to catch you. For example, you hate heroes like Puck. You hate heroes like Ursa that can just really burst and go really heavy physical. You hate heroes like Templar Assassin. And since Phantom Assassin is in a pretty bad spot, then anti-mage can be fine. And of course, you need to pick anti-mage when you have a strong laner, Crystal Maiden, Jakiro, Lich, these type of heroes, right, that are going to make sure that you're going to win the laning stage. So we're going to Morphling right now, and I think Morphling is fine, right? He's always annoying in the laning stage, but I don't think Morphling is great because it's a really hard hero, right? Every single Morph player are going to mess things up once or twice, or, in my bracket, possibly even more. And then he needs also a lot of items because the supports have a lot of damage. There are a lot of Glimmer Capes and Ghost Scepters, and basically he needs a team to win the game, right? His laning stage, again, a little bit annoying, but he might mess things up, and he still dies from heroes like Snapfire and Spirit Breaker and all this meta like Scarlet Mage and stuff. Now we're going to Templar Assassin. Good laning stage, good mid game, falls a lot in the late game in my opinion, because basically she has a lot of bad carry matchups, so she tries to end the game really fast. But I'm not really scared of TA generally as a hero. I think she's fine. Generally, I think that the player that's gonna play TA should be really good. That's why she's in B tier, right? Farms well, 3 items like Dragonlance, Dagger, Desolator, gets Ross and gets Tormentor. Maybe buy Shard later on, try to end the game as fast as possible. Now we have TB. Great hero, what can I say? Fine laning stage. His ability though to split push and farm and get shard, he's on a fine spot right now, but again the problem is that he's really squishy. His laning stage is not that strong. He's really low health hero early on, so basically anything can shut him down, and as a result you might play from behind many times. But if you're a good TB player and you use the illusions correctly, then you can definitely pull it off. Definitely B tier, he's not A, he's not C. Now we're gonna go to Weaver. I think it's a hero that nobody really gets to play, besides me, but Weaver's laning stage, it's great, his mid game is great. It's one of these weird heroes that you might think that a hero like Sven, for example, is just going to two-shot a hero like Weaver, but this bag is actually tanky. Anyways, you buy items like Desolator, Dragonlance, Satanic, Butterfly, Skadi, Daedalus. Like, this hero just buys stats, and just so annoying. So basically, just like Gyrocopter, you stomp the lane. At some point, you're gonna buy shards, so you kind of like flash farm, right? After a certain point, you solo Tormentor with a Desolator. Some people like Maelstrom, I don't. I like Desolator much more. So I think Weaver is in a fine spot. And late game, she's great. She's also great. Impossible to catch. Basically, the only problem I'm having is that early on, there are a lot of heroes that can just silence you, like Puck and Cope, and heroes, for example, like Ursa and Marcy, 15 minutes in, they can get to fight you, and you kind of need a few more items, like a Dragonlance and Falcon Blade are not going to be enough. Now we're going to go to Pudge. People are going to laugh that Pudge is B tier, but I'm having so much success with this hero, even as position 3, even as position 1. You just stomp the lane. Of course, you have to be a good Pudge player, and basically you just buy Ags, and then you just buy items like BKB and Shivas and Shroud and Dagger, and basically you just snowball. And both facets are just fine. Like, for example, I like the red facet, but in games that I played against anti-mage, I went for the green facet, where, you get more damage with the rod, and basically I just got items like AC and Satanic. I just punch heroes. So definitely, Pudge is B tier for sure. Now we're gonna go to A tier, where we have Prophet, Sven, Abaddon, Bradmother, and Troll. For Prophet, there is not much to say. The hero is just brain dead. People would say it's S tier, but there are just better heroes, basically, than him. Why is Prophet A tier? Well, global teleportation, stomps laning stage. The Prophet doesn't have decision making. You can connect with fights anytime, right? So even like the most brainless player can play Prophet effectively. It's a noob hero. And now we're going to Sven, fine laning stage, 3-item heroes by 16-18 minutes, which is Echo Saber, Mask of Madness, and Dagger, and then you buy BKB Daedalus. The hero is really cookie cutter, flawless position. Once you have the Dagger, make a play, always on the back line. There are a lot of heroes that counter Sven, like Dawnbreaker, like Lifestealer, like Ursa, like Marcy, where you can't really man-fight, but in the end, you're going to jump in the back line, so you don't really care. Now we're gonna go Abaddon. Again, brainless hero. You just stomp the lane, and you just buy Radiance into Manta, and then items like Dagger, Blatter, Nullifier, right? Brainless, right? You just stomp the lane, Aphotic Seal. There's not much to say here. The stats are good, nothing to say. Now we're going to something more interesting, which is Brad Mother, right? And this hero is just for the Brad players. The hero is fairly strong, right? You usually win your laning stage, but this is not always the case, right? And even if you don't win the lane, basically in the safe lane, there are a lot of camps, and through the webs, you can just literally flash farm once you have level 6. And even if people are going to take your tier 1 tower, still there is a lot of farm for you to take, and you can just hang there and you can just chill. Eventually you're going to take the enemy tier 1 and the map is going to become even bigger, right? And the hero that buys Manta, you can still go for the Orchid, but most players would agree to buy Manta and go stats and go damage. And at some point enemies are forced to buy NKB, the enemy carry, right? Otherwise they're going to miss chance a lot. I think hero is definitely A tier, but again, the player that will play Brad Mother is, well, has to be good. If you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna feed. And now we have Troll Warlord, where basically it's an answer to S tier heroes, right? So Troll stomps a lane, and the way I think of Troll lately is that after you buy Battle Fury and SN1 BKB, the way I think about it is like, you just want to be alive as much as possible. So I like items like Skadi and Refresher in the late game, right? The two of them have to be combined, right? Otherwise, you won't have mana. But of course, if you just go for the SNY, BKB, and the classic MKB and Basher, then that's fine, right? But Troll is definitely a good answer to the S tier heroes, where we are having number 1, Lifestealer. Basically, this hero just doesn't lose. That's it. This hero is really strong. He's really strong against all A tier, all B tier. Radiance is one of the strongest, basically, item right now, and Lifestealer gets to buy it. He's really strong against most meta position 3 heroes, which is heroes like Axe, heroes like Dawnbreaker, heroes like Centaur. These are all great heroes. And if you think about the hero that ultimately counter in the lane and in the mid game, a hero like Lifestealer is Enigma. Where's the last time you saw Enigma? Basically Enigmas, they don't exist out there right now. Right? That's why Lifestealer is on a great spot right now. Definitely pick Lifestealer. I'm having a lot of fun and a lot of success with Lifestealer. Now we're gonna go to Ursa. Well, if you think about it, like, why is Ursa good? Fine laning stage, Ursa's laning stage is by far not great, right? Basically similar to Lifestealer, you get to counter the position 3 meta. For example, if you see Dawnbreaker that he's gonna ulti, what do you do with, for example, hero like Lifestealer? Well, basically you're going to have rage and you don't really get to care about the 1 second stun, right? Because who's going to man-fight if that's going to kill you in 1 second that you're going to get stunned, and at the same time they can't really get to burst you because you're BKB basically. And then Ursa, it's the same thing. You can enrage, you can buy items like Ags, so the meta is not really a problem for you right now, right? The offlane meta at least. And I'm saying Dawnbreaker because, well, he's by far a hero that really messes up, for example, with a hero like Juggernaut, or a hero like Brad Mother, or a hero like TB, where he's forced to pike away, but the moment has to be great. And Ursa basically, it's a fine in the lane stage, and then you get to farm fine, you have like 12-30 minutes in Battle Fury, you have 16-minute Dagger, and then you can just move around the map. You can kind of solo Roshan and you solo Tormentor, so basically it's a snowball hero. And every single item that you buy, for example Battle Fury into Dagger, Power Spike, you can fight. Into Basher, Power Spike, you can fight. Into Shard, Power Spike, you can fight. You kind of get the idea. That's why he's S tier. And of course, we're gonna go now to the last hero, which is Marcy. While Marcy gets countered by hero like, for example, Lifestealer and Ursa, and a hero like Dawnbreaker, her laning stage is insane. She gets Helm of Dominator, while you can go for, something like Battle Fury. Helm of Dominator is by far the best. And basically, you win every single lane. You get to actually have a great synergy with meta supports right now, like Snapfire, right? So you stomp everything, you get to steal the wisdom, you flash farm pretty much as fast as Sven, basically due to your Dominator. Maybe not as fast as Sven, right? And then all you need is BKB, right? So Helm of Dominator, Power Spike, you can fight. BKB, Power Spike, you can fight. Next item is usually something like a Daedalus, Power Spike, you can fight. So if you see all the A and S tier heroes are basically heroes that can just constantly fight, and by far Marcy is out of the three the best, even though she can get to lose, right? Even from the A tier heroes in some situation. But Marcy, Ursa and Lifestealer are by far the best. What do you guys think about the patch? Let me down in the comment section, and of course, as usual, I'm going to answer every single comment. GG, Raza, and I'll see you on the next video. Hey guys, real quick, if you did like this video, make sure you subscribe, like and comment, as it motivates us a lot to keep making these videos and these guides. And of course, make sure you check out our 6-month coaching program. It's almost guaranteed. That's gonna get you to the next metal, if not metals. The link is gonna be down in the description, so make sure you click it and apply right now.